Imagine a whisper from the other side, not of peace, but of agonizing struggle. What if the afterlife held a realm not just of rest, but of desperate pleas? For centuries, stories have hinted at thin veils between our world and the next, but few have stared into that veil with the clarity of Saint Padre Pio. Known globally for his stigmata, his life was also a bridge to the unseen, a constant encounter with souls trapped in a harrowing state of purification. Today, we peel back the layers of these lesser-known, yet incredibly chilling accounts, to understand the raw, desperate reality of purgatory, as witnessed by a man unlike any other. Get ready to journey into the heart of spiritual struggle, where every prayer becomes a beacon of hope. From his earliest days as a Capuchin friar in the early 20th century, Padre Pio reported spectral visitations that would haunt his nights and shape his ministry. These weren't fleeting shadows, but vivid, often painful encounters with spirits seeking his intercession. In 1905, while residing in the friary of Sant'Elia, a Pianesi, a fellow friar, long since deceased, appeared to Pio, pleading for prayers to shorten his time in purgatory. This wasn't a unique event. He often spoke of being disturbed by these poor souls who would materialize in his cell, in the church, or even outside, their forms often distressed, their voices filled with a palpable longing for relief. These weren't ghosts meant to scare, but rather tormented beings caught between worlds, depending solely on the prayers of the living to move forward. Among the many souls who sought Padre Pio's help, 3 stand out for their vivid detail and profound impact. One night, a tormented monk appeared, his face etched with ancient sorrow. He confessed to Padre Pio that his suffering stemmed from a life of hypocrisy, neglecting his vows and using his position for personal gain rather than spiritual devotion. His penance was to endure intense regret, reliving his failures until true humility could cleanse him. Then came the heart-wrenching apparition of a grieving mother, her form shimmering with sadness. Her sin, she tearfully explained, wasn't malice, but a life too consumed by worldly anxieties and material worries, causing her to neglect the spiritual upbringing of her own children. She begged for prayers, not just for her own release, but for her children to find faith, hoping her suffering could somehow atone for her oversight. And perhaps most unsettling was the visit from a remorseful soldier, still clad in tattered uniform, his eyes hollow. He revealed a sin of despair, taking his own life in the throes of battle-induced madness, fearing eternal damnation. His plea was for mercy, for a chance to accept God's forgiveness he had denied himself in his final moments. Each soul presented a unique struggle, a mirror reflecting human frailties, and a desperate cry for relief from their agonizing penance. These tormented souls described their purgatorial experience with an intensity that often baffled Padre Pio's fellow friars. They spoke of a cleansing fire, not of burning flesh, but of an unimaginable spiritual agony. In Catholic teaching, purgatory's fire isn't the eternal damnation of hell, but a purifying flame, a spiritual furnace that burns away all impurities, imperfections, and attachments to sin. It's a preparation for the blinding light of God's presence, which an unpurified soul could not endure. The suffering communicated to Padre Pio was less about physical pain and more about an intense regret, a searing realization of past mistakes and missed opportunities for grace, combined with an ardent longing for God that could not yet be fulfilled. This yearning, this separation, was the true fire of their purification. Padre Pio's ability to intercede for these souls was legendary. Many witnessed it firsthand. One famous account involved a soul who frequently appeared to him, unable to find peace. Padre Pio, after much prayer and personal suffering offered for this soul, later saw the same individual, but this time radiantly joyful, appearing to thank him profusely before ascending to heaven. Another time, a friar, skeptical of Pio's visions, found himself face to face with an apparition in Pio's cell, later confirmed by Pio as a soul who had been suffering for decades and was now released thanks to his prayers. These were not mere stories. They were verifiable instances where Pio's spiritual work demonstrably shifted the fate of the departed, making him a true spiritual gatekeeper. While Padre Pio's experiences are deeply rooted in Catholic tradition, the conversation about souls in purgatory doesn't end with him. Across the globe, contemporary individuals continue to report encounters with deceased loved ones or unknown spirits, often describing similar pleas for prayer or signs of spiritual distress. These accounts, sometimes dismissed as mere grief or hallucination, echo the desperate longing for intercession that Padre Pio himself witnessed. The Vatican's stance on such claims is one of careful discernment. While acknowledging the possibility of private revelation and the spiritual value of praying for the dead, it emphasizes that such experiences must align with Catholic doctrine and be thoroughly investigated to distinguish genuine spiritual phenomena from psychological influences or deception. They remind us that the Church values prayer for the dead above all else, seeing it as the most powerful way to assist these suffering souls. Have you ever felt a connection to someone who has passed? Share your experiences in the comments below.